Welcome to the Just Transition Hawaii Coalition's County Council Forum. My name is Tanya Yamanaka Anasazian, and I'll be your moderator this evening. For those just now joining us, the Just Transition Hawaii Coalition is a post-partisan organization that supports a livable planet by prioritizing the urgent economic, environmental, and social needs of Hawaii's local communities over partisan politics and corporate profits. Mahalo to you, the viewer, for taking time to learn about our panel of candidates. The Just Transition Hawaii Coalition has incorporated viewer questions into our selection of questions tonight. For those who signed up for this forum whose question is not asked tonight, or if you would like to ask further questions, know we're going to email you contact information for all the candidates so that you may reach out to them directly. All candidates running for council were invited to this forum, though not all are participating tonight. For those who have joined us, we thank you for your time, passion, and kuleana. Let's see, candidates joining us, a big mahalo for providing voters another lens into who you are. We appreciate the time you've dedicated to participating on Zoom and bearing with any technical difficulties that we experience during this unprecedented time, a time in which COVID-19 has made grassroots campaigning nearly impossible. Now, speaking of change, that's a good segue into a reminder from the League of Women Voters, Hawaii County. 2020 is Hawaii's first time voting by mail. Ballots will be sent out 18 days prior to the election and can be mailed once completed. And you can take your ballot to any voter service center or drop box. And locations for those are listed online at elections.hawaii.gov. Please make sure your voter registration is current and up to date. You can do this online at elections.hawaii.gov. Now let's give vote by mail the maximum chance of success. Now, on to the forum. Our format tonight is pretty straightforward. We're going to ask the same question of each candidate in random order, which was determined in advance by drawing. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to the first two questions, which they were provided in advance. Additional questions will be asked in which candidates will have 60 seconds to respond for a total, we hope, of 5 open-ended questions, depending on how time goes, given the experience in the previous forum. Our timer will notify you verbally when you have 20 seconds remaining. If you continue to speak after the time limit, you will be muted. So I encourage you to begin wrapping up your thoughts at the 20-second notice to avoid this. Following the open-ended questions, we're going to ask a series of yes/no questions to which you will have up to 15 seconds to respond yes or no. Now, please know that you don't need to use the entire response time allotted, because if we have extra time, we will try to get to some of the questions that people may be posting in the group chat. Let's hope. Let's see. Finally, at the close of the forum, each of the candidates will be given a 90-second allotment to provide a closing statement or their closing thoughts, also in a random order predetermined last night in advance by a random drawing. Now, candidates, please don't speak during other candidates' response time, even to voice agreement, as you will be immediately muted. And also, please keep yourself on mute when it's not your turn to speak. And know this, we don't expect candidates to have all the answers, and it's perfectly okay to answer I don't know, or if a question or issue interests you, to let us know that you'd want to research it more deeply. Okay, now let's meet our candidates. Starting in District 1 is Heather Kimball. Heather Kimball is a mother, teacher, small business owner, and community volunteer. Heather serves as the Hawaii County Chair for the Democratic Party, Advocacy Chair for the Zonta Club of Hilo, and is a coach for Kamehameha Canoe Club, among several other volunteer community positions. Welcome, Heather. Also running in District 1 is Bethany Morrison. A 13-year veteran of Hawaii County Planning Department, Bethany is an experienced community planner who focuses on sustainability projects, and she's an active member of the Hamakua community and has 2 daughters attending Laupahoehoe Public Charter School. Welcome, Bethany. Running in District 2 is William Bill Halversen.
He's not here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, running in District 3 is Paul K. Neves, a resident of District 3 for 36 years. Kumuhula and community activist Paul Neves is a member of the Royal Order of Kamehameha First and is dedicated to the protection and care of Mauna Kea, the land, people, and natural resources, and has been teaching for Michigan State University's Study Abroad program for over 3 decades. Running in District 5 is incumbent Matt Kaneali'i-Kleinfelder. Matt Kaneali'i-Kleinfelder resides in Ola'a with his wife and children, has strong local and family values, and a desire to support our island community. Welcome, Matt. Also running in District 5 is Rick Wirick. Rick Wirick is a homegrown agricultural activist and gardener promoting neighborhood and community-based agriculture and food independence. And he's an elected/volunteer leader for Orchid Land Community Association. Ikaika Rodenhurst is also running for this much sought after District 5 seat. Ikaika Rodenhurst is a trained and practicing civil engineer, an active member of the Hawaiian Acres community, an assistant coach for the 2019 Hilo High School Division I State Football Championship team, and serves on the worship team at Sure Foundation Puna. Welcome, Ikaika.
How's it?
Running in District 7 is incumbent Rebecca Villegas. Rebecca Villegas worked hand in hand with community leaders to tackle big issues, walked side by side with her constituents to navigate more than one unprecedented crisis the last 2 years, and has been a voice for West Hawaii. Welcome, Rebecca. Running in District 8 is Holeka Inaba, a native Hawaiian with his family ties to the Kona business community. Holeka Inaba is working on his doctoral degree on educational leadership and hopes to bring cultural perspective to the county council. Welcome, Holeka. Running against Holeka for the District 8 seat is Craig Bo Kahui. Bo Kahui is a Navy veteran and a native Hawaiian residing in the villages of Laopua Homestead Association in Kealakekee, who has extensive community service from working at the state judiciary to developing community facilities, programs, and services for Native Hawaiians and the broader West Hawaii community. Welcome, Bo.
Aloha.
District 9's incumbent is Herbert Tim Richards. Tim is a doctor of veterinary medicine and 6th generation Kama'aina, born and raised in North Kohala on the family-owned and operated
You the man, bro.
ranch.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you.
Running also for District 9 is Philip Ippy Aiona. At 24, Ippy Aiona made Forbes magazine's 30 under 30 list for upcoming movers and shakers in the food and wine industry. He's opened 4 restaurants on the Kohala Coast and resides in Waimea with his family. Aloha, Ippy. Also running for District 9 is Ranae Keane. With a master's degree in Youth and Human Services, Nonprofit Administration, Ranae Keane has served as project coordinator for Camp Adventure World Services, executive director of Kinetic Energy School of Movement and Music, educator at Innovations Public Charter School, Hualalai Academy, and has a strong interest in economic stability, proactive policy, and the stewardship of Hawaii.
Aloha.
Welcome. Okay, candidates, let's get started. So with the first 2 questions, you're going to have 2 minutes to answer. Paul Neves, you have the honor of kicking us off with your answer to our first question. Okay, in this age, Paul Neves, you have the honor of kicking us off with the answer to this first question.
Okay.
In this age of civil unrest, what is the county's and the county council's role in criminal justice reform and ensuring the safety of both police officers and peaceful protesters unhappy with the status quo?
The county council, the police, and protesters are all equal under the law. So no one has one over the other. I believe that we must be made aware of how our police are being trained. What kind of tactics are they being taught? Who's teaching them? I would like to know from the chief of police his assessment of Minneapolis, Los Angeles, Seattle, San Francisco. What would he do? I would like to know what the police, in his opinion,
What's your opinion?
did the police correct? Did the police act correctly at Mauna Kea just last year? What would have happened had someone at that event used more loud language or say picked up a rock, none of which happened? How would his police would have reacted? We need to know this. We are liable. We don't want to put our good officers into bad situations. The County of Hawaii should not be supporting private development or developments that are supported by the state without knowledge of what they're supposed to be doing. So I think it's a situation we cannot sit in Hawaii and say it may not happen here. It could happen here. We need to be aware of how our officers are being trained so that our officers are safe and the people that they are in this event with are safe as well. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Paul Neves, running for District 3, which includes portions of South Hilo and portions of Kea'au. Next is Bo Kahui, running for District 8, which is the area of North Kona.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity for having me here. With respect to the current civil unrest on the mainland and our island culture, our island, we differ quite radically. And our police and our police force are necessary to keep the community safe. Now, given the recent events in Minnesota and throughout the world, I think looking at police policy in arresting a person, restraining someone, I think has to be looked at. I think should I get elected as the council person, I would look at that and try to revisit and work with the police commission in order to address policies that can have the same effect. I believe community engagement, community participation, and having community policing in the community may circumvent this whole process. So it's a way and it's a new mindset now, given the circumstances with the unrest on the mainland. Again, how we address this issue would be certainly met with, I think, with new vision, a new outlook.
20 seconds.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Bo Kahui. Holeka Inaba will answer next, also running for District 8, which includes North Kona.
Aloha kako, thank you so much for having me this evening. And to answer this question, I think it's necessary for our county council members to work in collaboration with our state legislators to be proactive and responsive with initiatives that improve our criminal justice system. At the county level, I think we can explore our crime rates, understand what kind of crime is occurring here, and spend our resources in trying to tackle the sources of those problems instead of waiting for offenders to commit those crimes and then punishing them afterwards. With regards to police and peaceful protesters, I think it's important, first of all, to thank our police who go out every day in the face of danger to keep our community safe. And we need to make sure that the public knows that violence and senselessness at protests won't be tolerated. And as county council, I think we need to support the county prosecutor's office in holding those who commit senseless and violent acts at protests accountable for their actions. At the same time, on the flip side, I think the public needs to know that they have the right to peacefully protest without fear of violence from law enforcement. So working with law enforcement leaders is really important for me to make sure that we are training and retraining our law enforcement officials properly to deal with peaceful protesters who are standing up against injustices in our community. Mahalo.
Thank you, Holeka Inaba. Tim Richards, running for re-election to District 9, North and South Kohala.
Aloha, everyone, and thank you for the invitation, and thanks for the question. First of all, the statement was made that everybody's equal, and that's very true. We have a police force here that works very hard, and I commend some of the council members for supporting them, as well as our people on the campaign trail. For our police force, we have about 450 officers and about 50 openings right now. We need the resources to help take care of it and to take care of the people. Additionally, it's my understanding that our police force nationally is trained about maybe 60%, 2/3 of what the international standards that we see in Europe and all. So I think what we need to do is have more resources to put forth, as well as more training to support our police. Now, to that end, once we have this, people are welcome to peacefully protest. But then if we have a situation, the public is supposed to be feeling safe. If we have a problem, we must have a police force, but we also have to address the root problems at their core. And then once identified, we have to put resources towards that to help solve those problems at the root. It's not about just enforcing law. It's about supporting the law, but then also figure out our social problems and trying to fix that in the long haul.
Thank you, Tim Richards. Okay, next is Bethany Morrison, running for District 1, which includes Hamakua, North Hilo, and portions of South Hilo and Waimea.
Aloha, and thank you guys so much for hosting us this evening through this format. It's very educational and a great opportunity. This question, is we're going through a tough time right now with some of the civil unrest. And I really can empathize with those who are peacefully protesting and standing up for injustices in our system. It takes doing that sometimes to recognize that our system needs to be changed. And so I really, recognize that this is an opportunity for us to look at things that could be changed and work towards that. As far as our police force, similar to what Councilmember Richards was just going over, we have a really hard time with recruiting police officers. It's a very tough job, and they have a hard time finding enough recruits for that. And so we really want to make sure that our policemen have the training and the equipment that they need to do their jobs effectively, and that they're supported. We also need to make sure that we're holding ourselves accountable. We have a great opportunity living in Hawaii where we have an aloha with each other. And so when we do these protests and different things in the community, we can really recognize and take ownership of our own behaviors. And I think that's something that we're very lucky and very blessed to have. That's why we have peaceful protests and we don't have the violence and the criminal activity happening on the mainland.
20 seconds.
Thank you so much. So just continuing with those relationships, supporting our police officers who are there to protect and serve us, and making sure that everybody has freedom of speech. Thank you.
Mahalo, Bethany Morrison. And now for Rebecca Villegas, who is running for re-election to District 7, which represents portions of both South and North Kona.
Aloha, thank you for having me. What an exciting evening and a unique opportunity to share our viewpoints, our vision, and our passion for our community in a digital format. So first off, I wanted to thank a member of our community who reached out and shared some concerns and suggestions that she was having currently about what's going on in our country and some of the disparity and the challenges and uprising. So this question is perfect for that. As the Hawaii County Councilwoman for District 7, I would call on the County of Hawaii and the Hawaii County Police Department to adopt and implement the following policies: to require de-escalation techniques and training, to ban chokeholds and strangleholds. I do believe that the police department at a state level has just done that, and I'm very grateful for that. I would like to encourage that we require officers to intervene and stop excessive force used by other officers and report these incidents immediately to a supervisor. We should require a use of force continuum. We should require comprehensive reporting each time an officer uses or threatens to use force. And there are a number of other very specific suggestions that I researched, and research has demonstrated that police departments with these force policies implemented kill 72% fewer people than departments that have none of these policies in place. Common objectives are that these policies would endanger officers. However, research and data demonstrate that officers in police departments with more restrictive policies in place are actually less likely to be killed in the line of duty, less likely to be assaulted, and have similar likelihood of sustaining an injury during an assault. So essentially, there's benefits all around.
20 seconds.
Okay. I also point out a current program of health equity training and evidence that effectiveness was exemplified at the recent standoff at TMT with the Protectors of the Mauna and the utilization of kapu aloha. I think we set a phenomenal example.
Thank you, Rebecca. Uncle Paul Neves, I'm going to ask you to try to turn off your autofocus if you can. Maybe you have a helper there you can ask to find how to turn that off. Mahalo. Okay, next up we're going to hear from Ikaika Rodenhurst, running for District 5 to represent portions of Puna.
Hello, and mahalo for having me. As a native Hawaiian growing up in Hawaii, I'm familiar with the injustices experienced by people of color. I've been educated on the stories of our past and had experiences of my own. Going to college on the mainland in a predominantly white town, I've been judged on the color of my skin. And even coming back to Hawaii, the local community, I've been judged upon what profession best fits a Hawaiian, and been told I should be an entertainer, a laborer, security officer, a longshoreman, but never an engineer. And I think that our people and everyone in general has the ability under the Constitution to peacefully protest. And that's going to require collaboration with our local law enforcement and communication. And we're going to need to ensure that they have the services and support from our community, because they are part of our community. They need to have the ability to effectively serve and protect us. And that's going to require local community-based safety systems and safety organizations that work in collaboration with our local police officers. For criminal justice reform, I support organizations in the community that focus on a reduction of repeat offenders, addressing mental health and substance abuse issues, and also mentoring and servicing our at-risk populations. And really, in general, we need to come together as a community to address this issue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ikaika Rodenhurst. Next, we'll hear from Heather Kimball, running for District 1, which again is the Hamakua Coast, portions of North and South Hilo, and Waimea.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for hosting this wonderful forum. Thank you to my fellow candidates for participating, and especially thank you to everyone who's stayed on after 2 hours of the mayor's forum to listen to us county council candidates. This last weekend, I was able to go out and participate in Hilo Bay in a paddle out to remember George Floyd. And as I was heading out, I saw one of my buddies. He's a police officer on the force here. And it was really just wonderfully heartening to see him out there with all of us participating in the 8 minutes and 46 seconds of silence, really to just commemorate all of this power that's out there right now for real change. Now, my friend is one of the good guys, and he cares about the community. He supports, folks from all backgrounds, but we do need to have some greater transparency in our police force. And you're already starting to hear some of that being talked about at the state level. The way that reporting works right now for police misconduct, that information only goes out if the officer is fired. We have some of the most restrictive public information policies with respect to police misconduct in the country. So that's something that we need to look at. Additionally, long-term, something we may want to consider that other jurisdictions have is a board that's for ethics and training standards. A group of both community individuals and former police officers that can review training standards to make sure we are implementing things like de-escalation techniques. For me, the biggest priority, though, is to close the pipeline. And I think some of the other folks have talked about this. Where can we address things earlier in the process so the first call isn't to the police officer? We're actually looking at de-escalation, mediation, and not getting to that level. And I think that's where we need to invest as a county most of our resources.
Mahalo, Heather Kimball. Okay, let's see. Next, we're going to hear from Wirick, running for the seat for District 5, Puna.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, excellent. Getting this system set up is something else. And just first of all, I wanted to say aloha and aloha aina, and a big mahalo to Just Transition Hawaii Coalition. The name says it all. You guys are hitting this on the nose. It is time for transition here in Hawaii. And thank you again for hosting this social media event. And also a big mahalo to all of you out in cyberspace. May the force be with you. Okay, moving on to our first question. First of all, this isn't really a 2-minute topic. And realistically, if you want the full story from me, go ahead and go to wirick.org. And I do post almost daily blogs, and we can go through specific detail. I want to start off, I'm trying to go with notes and just off the cuff, but I was born back in the 1960s. Not only were there massive protests, but there were multiple assassinations. President John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, the Kent State massacres, Bobby Kennedy, the president's brother, to mention a few. We were looking at a socioeconomic change in the 60s and 70s with those assassinations basically struck down that
20 seconds.
change. What I would like to say is what we can learn from here is to look at what happened up on Mauna Kea for 6 months. I praise to the peaceful protesters, the protectors, for maintaining the kapu aloha. I praise them for holding back as they attempted to, as law enforcement dispatched by the governor and the mayor could have provoked violence, which did not occur. I am also a former.
Mahalo, Rick. Thank you for your thoughts. Ranae Keane, we'll hear from you next. District 9, she's running for, representing North and South Kohala.
Aloha. Thank you very much for allowing us the time to speak at this forum and facilitating that opportunity. Regarding the civil unrest and the safety of both our police officers and our general public, our officers are here to serve and protect. We're very fortunate in Hawaii County that the right to assembly and freedom of speech have been mutually respected and valued by all parties. The steps to address the actions that the county could take. First, the state has already implemented this in recent weeks, is stopping the use of the vascular neck restraints. It's a temporary issue now, and it could be made permanent. I think that's a good place to begin looking at immediately. In addition, I would like to look at the transparency with policies addressing closed door racism. Currently, our police department for the last 2 years has had training for our officers to intervene when peers are out of line. And I would like to see regular drills with this exercise. I think it's a really good step for our officers within their own community. So we've lost many great officers in the line of duty. And we have to be able to protect our officers. They must remain equipped to remain protected themselves so that they can protect us. Overall, for the safety of both the police and the public, communication and multiple respect is key. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ranae Keane. Next, we'll hear from Matt Kaneali'i-Kleinfelder, running for re-election in District 5.
Mahalo, Tanya, for the question. First and foremost, we all live on a small island, and we're all ohana. In the most divisive challenges our communities have faced, we all sit down at the dinner table to share a meal at the end of the day. That's Hawaii. I always look to the First Amendment, which ensures freedom of assembly, peaceful protest, the right to gather. The county has to uphold the protections guaranteed by the First Amendment and by federal law. When I was elected to council in 2018, the biggest issue that we faced in Puna was crime. In the first months in office, I increased funding to the police department. I wanted to ensure there were more officers in our district to care for our communities. I'm a strong supporter of our police department. I appreciate what they do every day to keep our community safe. I appreciate every single one of our officers. They're amazing people. My thoughts on ensuring the safety of our citizens and our officers alike, given what's happening across the world, and especially in our nation. The county government as a whole must be an open door to the public. It is every elected official's responsibility to listen to community concern and respond appropriately. We work for you. That's the meaning of government.
20 seconds.
Now, with what's happening across the nation, we have to create trust and accountability in government. That's what I'm here to do. As your elected official, my track record has shown I'm not a rubber stamp. I always ask hard questions, and I always expect accountability from all sides.
Mahalo, Matt. Next, we'll hear from Philip Ippy Aiona, running for the District 9 seat, representing North and South Kohala.
Aloha, thank you so much. And I appreciate this question. Thank you for bringing it up because, it's a very important subject right now. And we have to understand that there is a serious problem with systemic racism in this country. That's made evident by the murder of George Floyd from these 4 police officers in Minneapolis. Here in Hawaii, we're a little bubble, a little melting pot in the middle of the ocean. So we have unique circumstances. We do deal with discrimination here, but most of our police officers, they're born and raised in the community. They're from these towns, so they're part of the community. Another good thing and a benefit that we have of living in these tight-knit communities is we have a lot of watching eyes. We've all dealt with this. Everyone's related to someone. Everybody knows someone. We all know everybody. So this kind of holds some form of accountability for people. And I think that was evident up on the Mauna when police officers were forced to arrest kupuna, who were their neighbors, their aunties, their uncles, their grandparents. You know, they were exchanging ha and then having to arrest them afterwards. And it was heartbreaking for both sides. Now, as far as county council's job, I think the first most important thing is public health and safety. That is the job of county council, to make sure everybody is safe and everybody is healthy. And that's what we do. And in order to do that, they have to open and make clear lines of communication between the people and the police department. We have to bring all sides to the table. We have to communicate, and we have to create more transparency in the police department. I think in order to do this, we need to listen to both the people and the police officers. I think as far as reform goes, if you're not creating reform, if you're not striving to make things better, you're falling down.
Seconds.
And I do truly believe that Hawaii can be an innovator and lead when it comes to police reform. And I would love to see Hawaii be an example for the entire world on how police and communities and people can come together to create an amazing community like the Big Island. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Ippy. Okay, let's move on to question number 2. I can see we're off to a great start, and you guys have put a lot of thought into this, and I really appreciate that, because I know our viewers put in a lot of thought when they were submitting their questions. So thank you very much. Okay, next question. Matt Kaneali'i-Kleinfelder, you'll be the first to respond. What are the issues that local business owners and employees are facing right now, and what can the county government do to help relieve those issues?
Mahalo for a great question, Tanya. As one of the few legislators on the council currently, and statewide for that matter, who owns and operates a small business, I know from personal experience how devastating this pandemic has been. Right now, every small business across the nation is hurting. The council currently expects to feel the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic into at least next year, if not longer. This only highlights what we already know. We need to rebuild our economy and provide jobs. Most importantly, the rebuild needs to be in balance with community concerns and in coordination with our communities. Many local businesses like my own were mandated to close. Some had no choice but to lay off employees, each of whom support a family. At a minimum, it's expected that 10% of our Hawaii businesses will not reopen. Our first priority is to get our people back to work and kukua our local business owners. These businesses are the quiet backbone of our community. They pay taxes, they employ thousands of people in our county, and they help to keep the unemployment fund full. Our county is slated to receive $80 million in CARES funding. I want a portion of these funds to go to our businesses. In next week's council meeting, I'm introducing 2 resolutions, both of which are aiming to provide grants to small businesses to get local businesses back
20
open,
seconds.
which helps them employ people and get our economy moving. That's how our council can help in rebuilding our economy and creating more jobs. Mahalo, Tanya.
Thank you very much, Matt. All right, Ippy, Aiona, let's hear from you next.
All right, thank you for asking this question. And also, like Matt, this is a very personal question, because I also have small businesses here on the island and have been affected by the current situation. Business owners from all sectors of the economy are being affected right now. I'm in the service industry, and I have a restaurant down in the Waikoloa Resort area, and it's a ghost town right now down there. What we have to do, the business owners are trying to come up with creative ways to create new streams of revenue, but it's just not enough. What we have to do as county council members is we have to create an environment for small businesses to thrive. And small businesses can only thrive in stable economies. It's really what it is. So we have to create a stable economy. In order to do that, we have to do what we've been hearing a lot of. We have to diversify the economy. The first thing we have to do is we have to make the permitting process easier. This has been talked about all night tonight, even the mayoral candidates. We have to make it easier for people to open small businesses. If anybody was planning to open a small business before, we should help push them through. We should be giving people golden keys that want to open businesses right now, not tying their hands in red tape. We also have to bring agriculture to the forefront and make it a cornerstone of our economy. I have a very robust, multi-phase, long-term agricultural plan that can do this. And we can get away from bringing in 80% of our product and make Hawaii more self-reliant. We have to invest in our renewable energies. This is something that's very important. It's going to help in the future with our children's future, with climate change. We have enough natural resources here to do it. And we also have to start pushing through some of these shovel-ready CIP projects. You know, we have to get involved in community development. I'm very, very firm, and I have a very passion. I'm very passionate about creating storm shelters. We need to start
20
creating
seconds.
storm shelters to help people. You know, in order for businesses to survive,
Only God can create.
in order for businesses to survive, we have to create an environment for them to thrive. Money in people's pockets so that people can spend that money at these small businesses and help them survive. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Ippy. Okay, Tim Richards, you're up next.
Hello, everyone. And again, thanks for the question. It's been stated, and I will restate it. It's the economy. Our economy 2 years ago was running about $8.5 billion for our gross domestic product, GDP. Last year with the lava event, we lost $1 billion out of that. We also lost about 4,000 jobs. Then we hit the pandemic and we lost tourism almost totally. That is about 40% of our economy. Our economy right now is functioning at about a $5 billion level. Small businesses on our island comprise about 80 to 85% of our employment. Without the impact of the tourism coming through, we don't have the dollars churning within our own economy. To deal with that, we have to reinvent and retool going forward. Now, one of the things that I have been working on for literally a decade, if not longer, is an agriculture and a long-term agricultural plan for the future. I firmly believe, and I've stated this year after year, that agriculture can and will be a portion of our economy going forward. If we do the growing, if we do the processing, if we do the marketing all within our county and within our state, we can become that breadbasket, and we can also have those dollars churn in our own economy. Now, what can the county council do? We can advocate for good public policy that will then support agriculture going forward. Additionally, taxes. We're going to have to hit the pause button on our taxes and throttle back a little bit. These little businesses are struggling. They don't have the cash to pay for these. And so I'm looking forward to seeing if we can do something with our tax rate, with our tax structure, and see if there's something that we can give a little bit of a break. Thank you.
Mahalo, Councilman Tim Richards. Heather Kimball, let's hear from you next.
All right, thank you very much. Well, to start off, I'm going to say what businesses need and what employees need are jobs and customers. That's the simple answer. But I want to take this question and I want to go big. I want to think about our overall vision. We've always known that we are in an extremely vulnerable position, that we have 60% of our residents that are either below poverty line or they fall into the ALICE category, asset limited, income constrained, basically working poor. And we knew that we were heavily dependent on tourism and that was a position that was going to be untenable in the long term. What we've had is this linear economy. It's an economy where dollars come in on the airplanes and cruise ships, they pass through our community, and then they head out again when we export them for goods and services. If we're going to really help our community, we need to take this moment to pause and say, let's do things differently. How do we have a circular economy where those dollars, they stay here and they support our local businesses, they support our local residences, taxes are paid to go ahead and support local services. So in order to do that, right, we need to create the connections between producers and local customers, and we need to make the business environment more friendly to those local businesses by removing some of those barriers. There's a number of different ways that I think we can diversify. Councilman Richards mentioned, of course, agriculture. Clearly, under these circumstances, our food security is really important. We have so much need on this island. We have so much ability to produce.
20 seconds.
We can't get it to the folks that need it. But there's other areas we need to look at. Looking at research opportunities, looking at future economies, ways that we can integrate ourselves into the global system, but keep that money in our community, helping meet the needs of our community, maintaining the ability to remain within our resources. Thank you.
Mahalo, Heather Kimball. Okay, Bo Kahui. There you go.
Aloha. And thank you again for having me. You know, the issues facing our local businesses is real apparent. I mean, we can't get away from the reality that the loss of tourism is now maybe the palette for the new economy, for the new vision for our Hawaii Island. I think when I think about it the most, and I think Jim Richards will agree with me, Councilman Richard, you know, our ag industry is a real key element for our success. You know, we import, you know, 90% of our consumption, all of this food that we're bringing in. And now that we're faced with this problem with COVID and the lack of tourism, we really need to diversify our economy. And by that, I think we need to start early in the schools to train young people that want to get into an industry that's going to pay well. And the government should be subsidizing and assisting this particular ag industry to flourish. Secondly, when we talk about diversification, I'd like to think about the energy and our energy security. When you look at the recent PV projects that was approved by HALCO, that's a huge stimulus for
20 seconds.
Our community. But it's intended to cut our costs, right? You know, cut our energy costs. So I'm hoping that between the two, food security and energy security, we can work towards helping businesses flourish and redirect our economy in that direction. Thank you.
Mahalo, Bo. All right, Rick Wirick, you're up next. Thank you, Rick.
There we go. Sometimes technology takes a little while to get rolling. Yes, well, in 2018, when I ran my campaign, it was a back to basics, feed ourselves, feed our island, back to agriculture. It was a primary focus back then because I could see even then we were in a recession. We had the lava flow. I was watching what the county council was doing, and it seemed like, you know, lots of money was being spent, lots of taxes were being raised, and most recently they actually went and to convert taxes from ag to residential, which in the situation that we're in right now just is one of the reasons why I stepped up to run for county council. This is not the first global economic collapse we have had. This is the third one since the summer of 2001. And my question for Hawaii County, especially those who have been in office, what has been done to secure the basic priorities that this island needs? Food, local food production, water, protect our natural resources, and shelter. We are in a situation right now that, yes, many people are out of work. Work has been cut. I don't think it has been for state and county employees. I don't think you were furloughed. I used to work for the federal government. We were furloughed in situations like this. We are at a situation where, yes, we are 80 to 90% dependent on our food with a 3 to 5 day window. My question is, what has the county done in the last 20 years to make it secure for its people? I will go into county council and make this our top. What did you say, 20 seconds? Are we done?
20 seconds.
Okay. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you to make this happen. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Rick Wirick. Ranae Keane, let's hear from you next.
My business that I own and operate was also mandated to close. And so again, this is a very personal issue for me as well. The issues for both business owners and employees was the fact that they weren't allowed to continue their businesses. The ones that are being allowed to open now are having trouble financially affording being able to be in business with a majority of their customer base missing. We also had issues with childcare, and when we were in school session, homeschooling for our essential workers. I think a lot of what the county can do to help with this situation is small businesses are often slowed by barriers and permitting, which we've spoke about a lot today. Also, the clarity and communication to what to expect. So for example, if we have an outbreak or we have a cluster somewhere on the island of COVID-19, a clarity and communication that we know in advance what the plan is going to be. What's the protocol if we have an outbreak? So our business owners can not just react, but prepare for what the situation would be if X numbers are reached. The other thing, of course, is making sure we have sustainable food sources right here on the island, sustainable agriculture. I would also like to work to streamline the county government using tech. So technology is doing the paperwork so that our staff and our county workers can connect
20 seconds.
through education and access. We have to help the small businesses, and I applaud all our essential workers and our nonprofits who have helped us through this time.
Okay, thank you, Ranae Keane. Ikaika Rodenhurst, let's hear from you next.
Mahalo for the question. Government has failed us, and that's the reality that we live in. My wife and other family members have gone on unemployment, and people such as my wife only received their first unemployment check as of last week. So a lot of local business owners and a lot of local business employees are facing uncertainty during this time. And we need to diversify our economy, as others have said. We need to spend that CARES Act money. We need to get our people back to work while maintaining the safety necessary to keep our workers safe and the public safe. We need to support agriculture and local businesses. Agriculture is so important, so vital at this time, especially when we can provide food sources locally within our communities and support ourselves and not have to depend on the food that we eat shipped in. We can do something about it within our communities. And Puna is a great place where there's so much availability for agriculture and other ways to provide goods that we can sell outside of our county, outside of our state. On top of that, we also need to support local construction projects, shovel-ready projects to provide infrastructure, improvements of transportation, improvements to our connectivity. As we've all seen through COVID-19, now we have this social distancing and working from home and education from home, and even telecommuting with healthcare. We need to have that system in place to be effective with it, so that we don't have these technological hiccups. We can connect with each other. We can connect in our community and outside our community. We just need a plan moving forward. We need a plan to prepare for whatever we have coming, and we
20
need
seconds
involved to get that plan instilled. And that's what I would like to bring to the county council.
Okay, thank you, Ikaika Rodenhurst. All right, next up, Rebecca Villegas.
Aloha, thank you. Wow, what an evening. Now I've just lost my... Essentially, I support the 5 principles of uplifting Hawaii and a just recovery for all. We have brilliant minds and visionaries and people that are passionate about a resilient Hawaii working on projects like this and creating templates and paradigms that we can follow as we move into our future. Some of those include opportunities. Oh man, Murphy's Law. People are now dealing with forced closures and unemployment, delays in unemployment insurance, POA, and other loan processing. There's been confusion on when and which businesses can reopen amid rapidly changing governmental proclamations. I would identify and support whatever efforts are necessary to get shovel-ready funded projects rolling. One example is the renovation of Kona Village. It's also come to my attention that the mayor recently told the legislation that he intended to allocate $22.3 million to Hawaii Island recovery initiatives, including grants to support small businesses, agriculture, energy, restarts, nonprofits, and the business economy. I believe that we have a future in a resilient Hawaii by continuing to explore agriculture and energy, by leaning in and our council members working collaboratively with the administration. We need to take into consideration the health and well-being of all island residents, the healthy relationship with our natural environment, and invest in a self-sufficient future that honors the wisdom of our self-sufficient past with public and private investments, and accelerating the phase out of fossil fuels, driving a circular economy, and ramping up our local agricultural production. We have opportunities and we must engage more people in the decision-making process, prioritizing the voice points of those.
Mahalo, Rebecca. All right, next, Bethany Morrison, let's hear from you.
Thank you for the question. And I'm so excited to have the chance to follow some of my fellow candidates, because everybody is on the same page, and that means we're going to make progress. First of all, to address the issues that we're going through right now with our small businesses and those employees, the county really needs to be communicating effectively and helping them to navigate some of the opportunities that have come through the CARES Act. Looking at the small business associations, the loans that are available, the paycheck protection programs, and just making sure that they have access to those to be able to support themselves while we get through this. As we begin to open up our economy, we need to be sure that we're doing it in a safe manner and that health and safety comes first to protect our people, making sure they have adequate equipment for that reopening. And then as we get into the next thing, right, is less reliance on tourism and diversifying our economy, as everyone else has been speaking about. We have really unique assets on our island, and we need to be investing in those assets. We need to be investing in our agriculture industry by helping support processing facilities in our communities for our farmers and ranchers to have access to, so they can process locally and save that transportation costs. We need to invest in our infrastructure, repair and maintenance, be ready for a stream of stimulus that can help us to fund the repair and maintenance and make sure that the construction industry is able to keep us plugging along and moving. And then we need to be looking at some of our emerging industries, science and technology, health and wellness. All of these can be supplemented also with tourism. You know, you can have a wellness retreat and have tourism be part of that, and agriculture. And so we really just need to look at what our assets are and make sure that we're investing in those as county government and getting out of the way for some of the new emerging businesses. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bethany Morrison. Next, we'll hear from Holeka Inaba.
Aloha. So as we know, our local, oh yeah, okay, you can hear me. We know our local businesses are hurting with the decline in tourism. At the same time, we know that employees across the state have lost their jobs and are drawing from state unemployment. But at the same time, our council members like Council Member Kaneali'i-Kleinfelder and Council Member Kirkowicz in Puna are working on these programs to help our businesses get back on their feet. And I think it's really important that when our council people are putting these initiatives forward, that we fully support and work on marketing to get this help out to our businesses, because it's one thing for us to create the programs, and we have to follow through and make sure that it's getting to our businesses and our local community to get us back on track. At the same time, in a bigger picture, I believe that we need to support the creation of new businesses, small businesses, and support the growth of existing businesses. And I think the county has a lot of potential in this area through the Department of Research and Development in using our business incubator to train and provide information to people who are interested in starting businesses to create and grow their businesses. And we'll probably see, as Ippy shared, problems in our permitting process as we help people through. So as we help people, we can help ourselves to improve our own systems. Lastly, in terms of reducing our
20 seconds.
tourism industry, I think it's important that we connect our youth with Earn to Learn programs provided by plumbers and electricians so that we can support the infrastructure building that we need, such as water treatment plants and low-income housing. So, mahalo nui.
Okay, mahalo, Holeka, Inaba. Next, and lastly on this question, we'll hear from Paul Neves.
Aloha. Obviously, the resources are on island. They may be in the candidacies as well. I think we need to engage the community. I think the community needs to be informed as to what's really going on. What we don't have, we can't give them. What they need, we have to have the courage to say we don't have it. The county has to do everything to get every funds, set up a full-time grant writing office to get grants from the federal government consistently. If COVID continues, it will get worse before it gets better. And there's a good chance it's going to get worse. And it's a good chance tourism is done as we knew it. And we need to tell our people the truth. Don't lead them on, it's all going to come back. Because I don't think the economy's ever going to be reset pre-COVID, which wasn't that good of economy then. We have to start telling our people we'll do everything we can that your business doesn't tank. The business tanks, the employees tank with it. Of course.
20 seconds.
Also, need to change the thinking. We need to say something that my grandparents used to say. Live within your means. We need to start living basics now and truth. Thank you.
Mahalo, Paul Neves. Okay, we're going to move to some little bit faster paced questions. We have a question that you'll have 60 seconds to answer. Bethany Morrison, you won the luck of the draw for this one, so you'll be first. What will you do legislatively to meet the state's goal of 100% reliance on clean energy by the year 2040?
Thank you. So that is in the science and technology economic sector that I was speaking of. And we really have the opportunity. We have assets on this island that we should be investing in. We have solar, we have wind, we have hydro. There's all kinds of technologies that we can be investing in. And also we need to be incentivizing the private investments to be happening. So that's working with Helco and making sure that they are working on their portfolio and making sure that that is helping us to achieve our goal. We also can take advantage of tax credits and making sure that folks have the opportunity to get more tax credits for installing their own systems on their properties to be self-sufficient. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Ikaika Rodenhurst.
Yeah, mahalo for the question. Yeah, we need to start supporting our alternative energy sources, especially in Puna. We have PGV, we have the geothermal source, which is a great source. It's something that isn't limited by the sun. It isn't limited by time. It's always available, and we need to be able to use that and maintain safety and environmental standards, as well as we need to invest in other technologies such as solar and other renewable energies as mandated. And it's something that I look forward to supporting and helping those projects move along to meet that goal. And I believe that's the best we can do at a county to help alternative energies.
Mahalo, Ikaika. All right. Heather Kimball. Okay.
So the key thing, I think, in getting us to our 100% renewable future is really public engagement. And I say this because we've known for a long time where we are as far as emissions and sequestration. We know where we have to go. There are plans. The plan that came out from the county recently is a very good plan with specifics on how to get there. The problem is, and it has consistently been, that transition from structures, economic structures, PUC structures, to implement those changes they don't coincide with what needs to happen, nor does public opinion. It is very difficult, for example, for people to change habits that get us towards that energy future without some additional support. I want to make sure that we focus a little bit on public transportation. It's an economic benefit. It is singularly the most important thing for improving economic outcomes. So fill out your census, because if we get enough people, we'll have a mass transit authority. Thank you.
Mahalo, Heather. Okay, let's hear from Rebecca Villegas next.
That was awesome. I guess I'm just going to go a little bit more specific. There are some opportunities for us to utilize and turn our waste into wealth on this island. I feel that that is a part of transitioning our energy resources. I'm extremely grateful that we have members of the administration currently working on programs to transition us away from a reliance on external energy sources. We have sunshine almost all year round. We have opportunities in the agricultural industry to incorporate potentially hemp production and that becoming a source of energy. Public transportation right now. I was on a conference call just the other day, Telco, talking about transitioning to electric buses. And I know that as a county, we're also exploring transitioning to hydrogen buses. So taking a look at the resources that already reside here on this island and transitioning into utilizing them for a more resilient future for our island home.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. I'm getting so excited now from all these answers. Okay, let's hear from Bo Kahui. There we go.
Aloha again. Looking at this this question about alternative renewable sources, one of the big concerns I've always had is bridging our capacity in our communities to support a new economy with renewable energy. Having new PV projects that is community-based, serving our community, getting community-based renewable energy credits to our community members to reduce their energy bill. In addition to that, we need to find investment out there and partner with the federal government under the RUS program, the Rural Utility Service Program, in which they provide renewable energy.
20 seconds.
Market tax credits and other tax credits incentive help bridge that gap. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Bo. All right, Councilman Tim Richards.
Aloha. This is a great question and it's a passion of mine. Our grid on this island is about 200 megawatts. And the Big Island is far ahead of the rest of the state as far as striving towards that 2045 goal of 100% renewable energy. We have the portfolio, you've heard it, wind, hydroelectric, geothermal, solar. In fact, 2 projects for solar were just approved in District 9 this last couple of weeks. So we are moving in a great direction for that. So we're well along the way. One thing that has been mentioned as of yet is biofuels. Councilwoman Villegas mentioned that a little bit, but also hydrogen. We have the opportunity to
20 seconds.
Make hydrogen from our water here. And then I have a plan going forward. It's my ag water energy of food nexus that combines all of this to give us energy reliancy and food self-reliancy. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Tim. Okay, let's hear next from Ranae Keane.
Thank you very much. In regards to our reliance on clean energy, I really want to explore solar and hydro in particular, not only incentivizing private business in these areas, but also promote competition within these industries, within these markets, with scale in mind. I'd also like to look towards education in our local population in these fields, train our youth and our workforce in these industries so that they can be operators, but also possibly someday own these companies and present more to our market.
Thank you very much, Renee. Okay, let's go now to Rick Wirick. Please unmute Rick.
There we go. Get back on again. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay, on island, we have the most advanced biodiesel plant in the world. Zero emissions, Pacific biodiesel. I run my truck off of it. I run my backup generator off of it. I run my backhoe off of it. We already have that here. Very effective. In fact, they produce their fuel from used cooking oil from the other islands. They are exporting their fuel to power plants on Oahu. Question is, why are we not using that resource? Geothermal, there were a lot of problems. It's down. It really hasn't been missed. What we need to do is move forward with fuels that do work, that are being produced on the island now, and then look to the future. As we create more local agriculture, we will have more excess food waste. We can move to biogas, ethanol production, and cellulosic hydrogen. Thank you.
Mahalo, Rick. All right, Holeka, Inaba, you're on.
Mahalo. So yes, like Rebecca said, that we do need to invest in solar. Kona is known in Hawaii. Kona he aina vela I ono. Kona indeed is a hot land, and we have our sun here. So to take advantage of that, and I will be straightforward with viewers that in certain areas such as energy, I don't have the most experience, but I look forward to working with those who have experience and knowledge in those areas. For example, we have a resource here in Nauha within my district, and I look forward to working with Nauha to increase our use of clean and renewable energy. Mahalo.
All right, thank you, Holeka. Let's hear now from Paul Neves.
I wanted to say, everybody said I didn't want to say. No, I think all of these things, they're here. We should be doing them. I'm really in my district. We have the famous Hilo dump, where every other district gets to throw all their junk in Hilo's District 3, on Hawaiian homelands, no less, of course. What we don't get, we pack up and send to Kona. So our trash is in two different places. This thing just went off. What happened?
You're still on.
Oh, okay. Whoever had that suggestion. Anyway, all of our homes, every school that's built, solar, right away. No even question. Put it up. If we are going to insist in the building codes to put insulation, we should insist to put solar on top of that house. We are living right in the middle of the Pacific, sunshine every day. That should be a no-brainer.
Thank you, Paul. All right, let's hear next from Ippy, Aiona.
Okay, mahalo Tanya for that question. That is a great question. And in 2015, state legislator put forth the RPS that says Hawaii will be 100% renewable energy by 2045. If we follow this, that will make us the first state in the country to be able to do this. And like Councilman Richard said, we do have a lot of good solar projects here in this district. We need to move towards, hydro energy, which we could do here. Community microgrids. things like this. But again, it falls into what I stated earlier. The permitting process of these are rigorous, are very tough to do and tough to get. So we have to work with the public and the private sector in order to bring these projects to fruition and be able to make more renewable energy and create a cleaner, more sustainable future for my daughter, for the Keiki of the future, and for her kids and her grandkids. So
20 seconds.
I think it's very important. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Ippy. Okay, next let's hear from Matt Kaneali'i-Kleinfelder.
Mahalo, Tanya, for the question. I love this question. In 1 hour, enough energy hits the earth to power our planet for a year. Over the last 10 years, I've installed thousands of PV projects. My knowledge as a journeyman electrician gives me firsthand experience in how we overcome some of the issues facing our island. We live on an island with finite resources and space. It's 2020 and we are completely dependent on fossil fuel to power our grid. In my first term, I worked really hard to make sure our administration was purchasing hydrogen buses and working towards getting electric buses for mass transportation. It's incredibly important and I don't know why we haven't done it yet. We need to make decisions to benefit our keiki. That's what we need to do. Our decisions need to be based 7 generations out. And if we're not doing that, then we're not benefiting the people of this island and we're not doing our job. We're not doing our job. Mahalo for your time.
Thank you very much, Matt. Okay, next question. You'll have 60 seconds to answer. Bo, you'll be going first. Again, the order was determined in a random selection yesterday. Okay, how will you address the cost of housing and living for families in Hawaii County?
I think as a member of the Habitat Board, I find it really affordable through that platform, through the Habitat model, to help families get into their homes. We're building homes and not just houses. And it's important to understand that difference, because we build homes with people that have ownership and they take ownership of their own home build, and then they feel more pride in that. There are other opportunities out there to find the state and federal subsidies to assist with community-based builds.
20 seconds.
And so this is the way in order for us to meet that housing demand. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bo. All right, next, Heather Kimball.
Hi, thank you. Great question. You know, when I went door to door talking to folks, their biggest concern prior to COVID was the cost of living. And of course, housing is the biggest chunk of anybody's paycheck. And in particular, they were not only worried about cost of living for themselves, but the ability for their children to own their own homes. You know, well, really the best way, the most secure way to develop familial wealth or some financial security is through home ownership. And so really what this is a question is inventory of housing, not just affordable housing, but housing also at the price point for our policemen, our teachers, our firemen, across all price points. And so looking forward to what the council can do, looking at rezoning to increase density in already developed areas where people are already close to their work, investing in an affordable housing fund, something that Maui has done, and I think we can do as well in Hawaii County. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, Heather, let's go now to Ikaika.
Mahalo for the question. Being from Puna, we know that it's the fastest growing area in the state, and affordable housing is an ever-growing issue that we need to address. We need to keep allowing construction for these new homes to continue, be responsible about where they're placed, and be accountable on how that gets achieved. But once we have the houses available, we also have to provide the ability for these people to pay for their houses, the people who pay for their bills, and that means they need to get to and from work. My experience as a construction manager for the past 9 years on state and county projects gives me insight on how we can improve our roads, provide alternate routes, and improve our mass transit system so people can get to and
20
from work,
seconds.
as well as improve connectivity through the infrastructure, access to water, access to power, access to internet, as we all stated earlier, has become a necessity more so than ever during COVID-19, keeping us connected. That's how I think we should tackle affordable housing on a county level.
Thank you, Ikaika. All right, Bethany, we'll hear from you next.
Thank you. This is something that I'm really excited about. As a long-range planner for the county, I've been working hard at making sure that our land use and our infrastructure are in alignment. This really means that we're investing infrastructure into our towns and centers where we can increase density of our housing stock. That means that we're looking at our permitting and our zoning code to be sure that it allows for those additional dwelling units to be built easily with little investment. That creates, again, more housing stock and more affordable rental units. We also need to be encouraging our mass transit system to be more effective and efficient and providing reliable routes. It's no surprise that a lot of us pay a lot more in transportation than we might need to. So that housing and affordability really has to also include transportation. And I look forward to tackling that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bethany. Rebecca. There we go.
Aloha, thank you. Something that I've been working on recently and have been in a number of Zoom conference calls, as most of us have. One of them recently had to do with the updating of our building codes and making things more succinct and more connected so that contractors and those looking to do building projects have a more streamlined methodology that they could follow in order to enact that. So that working in cohesion with the permitting process could provide opportunities for some of the developments that have been in the works or been mulled over for years to be able to more effectively, efficiently, and less follow forward. I think there's opportunity for collaborative projects with state, federal, county, and nonprofit organizations as well. And affordable housing is strongly linked with homelessness and houselessness, which is a huge issue for District 7 and something I've been working really hard to find some short-term resolutions to as we look to the long-term solution with Kukui'ola.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. Let's go on to Tim.
Aloha. Affordable housing, a passion of mine. When I was born in the county, we had about 60,000 people living here. Today we have 200,000. Our population has tripled. The need for housing is paramount. But in order to do that, we have to have the affordability of that through a dynamic economy. We have affordable housing projects available to us, and there's a state law called 201H that allows us to build these different housing developments if we embrace it. We as county council, we have the authority to approve these things to go forward. Now, I agree with increasing density, but to make them affordable, we have to increase the density in areas that the land is affordable. And that's going to take innovative thinking and these new projects, which I'm all behind and all supportive of. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim. All right, Paul.
My favorite thing to watch on Netflix is tiny homes. We need to start doing stuff like that. We need to start having a village of not boxes, but creative tiny homes that can be built under 100,000, 50,000, and get our builders to stop thinking 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, $300,000 homes for people that don't live here. Our kids, we're losing our kids right after college. They're gone because they can't afford to stay on this island that they were born and raised on. We need to start looking outside the box because just like all the other great things that you folks are saying and I'm saying, you can't do it unless you can you can establish a home here that you own, that you will own someday, and not 30 years pay $1 million into it. Can't do it. Can't do it. We need to change it. Look at creative housing.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, Matt.
Mahalo for the question, Tanya. During my time on the council, I've worked closely with Habitat for Humanity. And they have a saying that basically says people need housing and equity, not assistance. In our county, we face a huge housing shortage. We know that. Yes, we need more affordable housing, but most of us can't afford what we call affordable housing. That's a problem. As I walk the neighborhoods in Puna, I notice hundreds of homes sitting empty. We may be the fastest growing district, but a lot of our homes are empty. We have squatters in those homes, and they create broken neighborhoods. We need more housing in our district, that's clear, but I differ in approach. I
20
want the
seconds.
county to use programs or nonprofits to offer rent-to-own housing. This creates long-term equity in our families, creates safety and security for our communities, and allows our Kiki to get ahead later in life. We as a county need to help build stronger communities. This is how we do it.
Thank you very much, Matt. Okay, Ranae.
Thank you. I believe the question was regarding the cost of housing and our cost of living. In terms of our cost of living, we have to support our buying local, growing local, and our sustainable economy there so we can keep the money here. What we need to look at is the inventory of housing that we have, and to support affordable rent. A lot of times in the past, a lot of support has gone to the tourism industry, as well as SCRVs and things like that, ignoring our population who needs a home in our neighborhoods. We also need to, when we do look at developing affordable housing and workforce housing, that the
20
infrastructure
seconds.
is in place prior to or in conjunction with, not after. Infrastructure is key when we're looking at developing more in our housing projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ranae. Okay, Ippy.
Okay, thank you for that question. You know, this seems like it's been a question in candidate forums for the last decade. Everybody's always trying to figure out what to do with affordable housing. We have projects like Aiona here in our district that have been tied up for decades. They have about 420 affordable housing units that are available. Now, here's the kicker. The Hawaii County affordable housing standard is $470,000 to $509,000. Affordable housing. This is, you know, we have to learn that we have to start creating relationships with Hope Services and with, you know, with Habitat for Humanity. And if I do get elected, I will work with people that, you know, are more knowledgeable about this than I am,
20
and
seconds.
work with them to help build more affordable housing here and get some of our locals into homes and make them homeowners that aren't $500,000.
Thank you, Ippy. Okay, Rick.
I'm always slow on the mark there. Anyhow, resetting the priorities for the county again: food, water, and shelter. Shelter also includes people's gardens and farms. We need to come up with and implement foreclosure protection so that those people who are trying to make ends meet and are able to feed themselves from their own properties are not going to lose their homes. In other words, the food becomes more important than even the finances coming in. Also, establish a total owner builder single family residence policy. I did it in Salt Lake City, Utah, which is a right to work state, and cut my costs in half. Also, we
20
can
seconds.
we can look into the possibility of using other building materials on island, the eucalyptus trees on Hamakua Coast. Instead of burning them in a very inefficient power plant, we could actually come up with simple log homes for those people that need them. Mahalo.
Thank you, Rick. Okay,
You're all
and last but
piggy.
not least, Holeka.
Mahalo. I think it's important for us to, especially here in District 8 and District 9, we have a lot of wealthy developments and fostering relationships with these developments to support our county efforts in housing. I think all our efforts do need to prioritize residents of this island, those who have connections here, generations deep. In addition, we know that we need to perhaps streamline the permitting process to help this happen quicker to get people into homes. And this takes us as county council members, and I hope we all agree, to work really closely with the mayor's administration. And lastly, in the case of Native Hawaiians, I think it's important for all public servants to work with the Department of Hawaiian Homelands to get Hawaiians so that we can build, whether it be tiny homes or apartments, to put Hawaiians in homes as well. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to switch gears and we're going to do 2 really rapid fire questions. They're yes, no. So all you need to do is answer yes or no. Paul, you'll be going first. Do you feel that the County of Hawaii should have more home rule, the right to pass laws and govern our own jurisdiction, exceeding state law in some circumstances? In other words, would you support a home rule ordinance for Hawaii County?
I would support it, but it needs to be discussed because
Yeah, we're going to move on next to
some parts of the state are going to like it. Said 10 seconds.
Holeka.
Yes, I do support. And so, you know, with us working so closely together on island, I think we have the potential to sometimes make things happen faster. And
okay, thank you. We're gonna move. We know that there's a lot of things that go into this question. We're just getting your sense of if you're open to this. Rick Wirick.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Tim Richards.
Yes, one of my many frustrations.
Thank you. Rebecca.
Yes, wholeheartedly.
Bo.
Absolutely.
Matt.
Absolutely.
Ippy.
Yes.
Heather.
If there was a word stronger than yes, I would use it.
Ikaika.
Yes, most definitely.
Ranae.
Home rule. Yes.
Bethany.
Yes.
Okay, another rapid fire. Okay, Rebecca, you'll be going first. The movement to defund the police is sweeping the US mainland. Given that by defund, we mean restructuring the police department through offloading police functions to other municipal departments or community organizations, would you be in support of this movement in Hawaii County? Rebecca.
I'd be interested in exploring it.
Matt.
You gotta find balance.
Heather.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think it's worth exploring, but there's a lot of caveats there.
Ikaika.
Can you repeat the question real quick, please?
The movement to defund the police is sweeping the US mainland. Given that by defund, we mean restructuring the police department through offloading police functions, some of them anyways, to other municipal departments or community organizations, would you be in support of this in Hawaii County?
It's something that would be interesting to see, but at this time, no.
Okay, Holeka.
No.
Rick.
Am I here? Oh, yes. Okay, so yes, I would actually say no to defunding. We actually need more funding.
Paul.
More transparency, yes.
Bethany.
I would say we need to consult with our police officers and our community first.
Oh.
I'd like to just maybe have more dialogue on this matter. Thank you.
Tim.
Restructure with conversation with the police.
Ippy.
No.
Ranae.
The police have protected us. We must fund them to continue to protect us.
Okay, thank you very much. We are going to move now to our final opportunity to hear from you all. I do want to take a moment just to say thank you guys. We know we threw a lot of different things out in there, but there was so many different topics people were writing in about. So we really appreciate, we know we were all over the place. There's a lot of topics covered, so thank you. So now candidates, each of you has 90 seconds to give us your closing thoughts, and in a random order chosen by drawing. So Timer McKnight, give us 90 seconds. Bethany Morrison, you'll go first.
Awesome, Tanya. Again, thank you so much for hosting us tonight. 90 seconds. I want to just express, I've been serving the county already for 13 years as a county planner. And during that time, I've built a lot of relationships and I've gained a lot of experience and knowledge about how our county system functions and ways that it can be improved. And I look forward to serving you and improving that through the county council. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Paul Neves.
This is my final one, yeah. Yeah, I'd like to say aloha to all my the people of District 3 and thank all of you for your manao as well. I have always stood up for people in minority positions. I've stood up for Hawaiian people when the lands are definitely on their side and they're not being treated well. I'm also very interested in our young people. I don't want to see any more young people leaving Hawaii. I want them to stay home. They are our greatest resource and we're losing them. If the county doesn't do what it needs to do, we will lose our great resource. And what will we replace will not be a Hawaii that we will remember or we will recall or we will be proud of. So I'd like the opportunity to do that. I do not want to be a career politician. It's 4 years, raise the bar, and I'm going home. Thank you.
Mahalo. Ranae Keane.
Mahalo for your investment of time and care in this forum. Mahalo to the candidates for sharing, for Just Transition for hosting, and for everyone who is still participating in the chat and listening to us. The quality of life for our residents is where I will focus my efforts. And in order to do that, I'd like to address economic vitality through evolved tourism. Which would include cultural tourism, ecotourism, and really explore voluntourism. We need to look at sustainable ag, retail, construction, energy to revitalize our economy. I want to look at the efficiency of county government by embracing the use of technology. We need to have forward-thinking departments and streamline permits, use paperless systems in the county. Very important to me is the stewardship of Hawaii by proactively addressing invasive species and the health of our air, water, and land. Promoting and evolving the tourism industry and placing Hawaii in our hearts and actions and contributing and supporting Hawaiian culture. We must connect our opportunities with our resources. My vision is to bring a better balance to Hawaii.
Mahalo, Ranae. All right, Rick.
Yes, tonight I learned that we're getting billions of dollars in a care program from the federal government that is 25 trillion in debt as we speak. We need to cut our canoe from the sinking ship. We need to take responsibility here on this island for the residents of this island and for the natural resources on this island. We can do it. We can apply ourselves. I came here from an area that didn't have water. Water is the most precious resource. I am so grateful to be here. I have been able to utilize solar, biodiesel, grow my own gardens, my own food. Over the last months, as I've been laid off my work, I've grown more in the garden. I haven't had to turn to outside resources for it. If we work with the land will work with us. Aloha Aina is the key. We need to get back to the basics, back to the future, set our new priorities, basically food, water, and shelter, work with one another, work with our communities. I've done it now for 5 years in our community. We're getting to that food self-reliance. We are also moving to work with one another. We have to do this as communities. I have done it over the last 5 years with our community. I want to do it with the entire community of our island. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Rick. Ippy, Aiona.
Okay, thank you so much. First of all, thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Just Transition Hawaii, for allowing us to share our mana'o and our thoughts with the community. I just wanted to give a quick rundown of why I'm running for office. So I'm running for office because, I noticed there was this big void between the people and the government. There's a lot of mistrust. There's a lot of non-transparency, and I would like to be the person to help bridge that gap. There's a lot of adults in our district that are my age, in their 30s, that don't vote, that don't even know who our council members are. I believe it's our public officials' jobs to get into the community and educate them and let them know who is actually being their voice, who's going to represent them. We have to bring everybody to the table, and we have to represent everybody. We're elected to be the voice of the people. And if elected, I vow to get into the community, to be a part of all of issues, to not make the decisions on what I think the decision should be, but what on the community wants and what the people really deserve. And yeah, my name's Ippy Aiona, running for County Council District 9. I want to thank you again, and aloha.
Mahalo, Ippy. Alrighty, Ikaika, Rodenhurst.
Mahalo just transitioned for this opportunity. Mahalo to the candidates for sharing your manao. And mahalo to the people of Puna for tuning in, and for the people of Hawaii County for tuning in to hearing what we have to say. I love Puna. It's a place I chose to raise my family. It's a special place to me, and I want to be able to represent it to the best of my ability, take my unique perspective as an engineer, as a community member, as a father, and use that as a leader if elected. I want to bring commitment, integrity, and compassion to the office. I want to take, the commitment to taking office if elected, and doing what I can in my abilities to represent and bring rationality to the county council, and use all the facts and all the findings available at time to make the right decisions, and hear the voice of the people, be compassionate, hear what people have to say, and really represent and do what's best for the community. And integrity, be transparent, yet own the community. I want to be the person that works not just for the community, but with the community, and work with everyone that's necessary to get the job done. Communicate to the people in our community that have these viewpoints that I may not have, because I'm not everywhere at once. I cannot be everywhere at once. But the people in our community, their voices need to be heard, and an effective leader needs to represent those voices. So hopefully I'm elected, and I really appreciate this time. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Mahalo. Thank you, Ikaika. Okay, Holeka, Inaba.
Mahalo. In observance of Kamehameha Day today, I think we have kuleana as council members to serve our communities with humility and deep care. I'm excited to work with whoever is elected this year, and especially with the mayor's administration, to accomplish the goals we spoke of this evening. For North Quanah for District 8, I look forward to growing our agriculture, improving our waste management education and behaviors, and completing our Kealakea Regional Park, which I think is something our keiki deserve here on the west side. As your council member, I will commit to giving you straight answers, educated decisions, and I'll do so with unwavering integrity. So I mahalo you folks for this opportunity to share, and don't forget to vote Inaba this year. Aloha.
Mahalo, Holeka. Okay, Tim Richards.
Aloha, and thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate the forum being put forth. Being an elected official was never really in my wheelhouse initially. I come from agriculture. I've been a land and water manager and steward for decades. But agriculture came to me and asked me to run to speak on behalf of agriculture. My platform is simple. I support agriculture, all agriculture, affordable housing, and of course the economy. We all want the same thing. Everyone on the forum tonight wants the same thing, a successful community. If we don't have the opportunity for our young people in housing, in the economy with good jobs, we're not going to keep them. That's what drives me. I have 6-year-old twins that drives me every day to make a better tomorrow for Hawaii. We've been successful since I've been in office. We've got $10 million for the Waikoloa Road and Paniolo Avenue Junction. I've been working very diligently on the inter-island shipping with the Young Brothers challenges we're facing right now. But we still have a lot of challenges ahead of us. I'm hoping that we can make the needle go and make a better tomorrow for the next generation. I've worked hard. I've spent many hours on the road and attended many, many community meetings. I am very happy to be your county councilman and look forward to working for you very hard in the future. Aloha.
Thank you, Tim. All right, Matt, Kaneali'i-Kleinfelder.
Mahalo again, Tanya. To Kuhan, Just Transition, to every candidate who is here tonight and gave their time. Big mahalo. I came into politics because I saw needs in public safety and infrastructure in Puna. Our office has worked hard. It's our responsibility as elected officials to increase police presence, to better our roads. But now with COVID-19 and with the upcoming shortfalls in our budget, we all need to make some serious decisions over the next few years to fix unemployment rates, job creation, and balancing our coming budget. It's going to be a hard few years. As an elected official, sorry, hold on one second. As an elected official, it's my responsibility to support our community. I live in Ola'a. Puna is my home. I drive home with everyone every morning, every afternoon. I work side by side with the community, not as a director, not as a boss, but as a leader. Side by side, we work through
20
it.
seconds.
Every decision I make is based on community concern. I make decisions that benefit our communities in Puna. I'm not a rubber stamp. I'll always ask hard questions. I look for efficient solutions. Vote Kaneali'i-Kleinfelder in the primary. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Matt. Okay, Bo Kahui.
Aloha again. I don't know if you can hear me. I want to thank the Just Transition Hawaii for putting on this platform, allowing us to come together as candidates and really address some of the hard questions. In addition to that, I want to mahalo all the other candidates that are running in their respective districts. I think I learned some stuff tonight, and I think through that kind of collaboration that it's important as you face your district and win your candidacy, that it's going to take that type of collaboration at the county level to make good positive change. With that said, I bring the kind of leadership in my experience and my community experience over the years, building community facilities, building services and programs in our community. And my hope is that we can expand on that. I bring the kind of team building experience. It does take partnership.
20 seconds.
We can't do this alone. The county can't do this alone. It's going to take a lot of partnership and bridging those partnerships with a lot of different agency and private sector individuals. So with that said, you can vote for Kahui too, if you're out there. So thank you very much. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Bo. All right, Rebecca, Villegas.
Aloha. Thank you everyone for being here this evening. My heart is actually quite full listening to all of these inspiring ideas and concepts and the passion, the integrity, and the diligence of so many people in our community. To have the opportunity to be a representative on the Hawaii County Council for District 7 for the last year and a half has been one of my greatest honor and privileges. It's also been one of the most interesting jobs I've ever had. Who could have ever guessed that we would be in such unique global, national, and local issues right now? But I've been honored and blessed to walk side by side and hand in hand with our first responders as they've set up COVID testing sites to help source much needed PPE equipment, to be with those that serve our homeless and houseless community as we navigate this extra complicated dimension that's been added by COVID-19, helping to find them more safe housing. I would be incredibly honored for the opportunity and the privilege to continue to serve my community. I agreed.
20 seconds.
Decided to run for office because of my heart for my community and for public service. Politics is a peripheral, and it's something I think we all endure. But public service, being connected, communicating with, and collaborating with our community and representing my constituents would be a phenomenal honor and privilege to do so for another 2 years. So in that consideration, please vote Villegas.
Thank you, Rebecca. All right, Heather Kimball.
Good evening, everybody. I want to just mahalo everybody that worked so hard to put this event together. It's really wonderful in these times to have an opportunity to connect with the voters and the community out here, and get some of the feedback and hear all the wisdom from the other candidates running for council. Thank you for everybody that stayed through the mayor's forum and then stayed another 2 hours for the candidates forum. I appreciate so much you guys taking the time to get to know your candidates so that you can go to the voting booth and be an informed voter. I invite everybody to check me out at voteforkimball.com, find out what I've done and who I am. But I'll just close and say, I got into politics because of my daughters. I have 4 daughters and a Ranae daughter. And when I think about the world that is going to be there for them in the future, I am incredibly optimistic. I do think that it's possible for us, if we care enough, to make the world a better place. Clearly from this group of people, you all see that we have shared ideals, that we want to move ourselves in a positive direction. But I'm pragmatic enough to know that it just doesn't happen overnight. We've got to work our asses off. I'm ready to go out there. I'm a paddler. I paddled from Molokai to Honolulu more times than I can say. I have no fear of getting out there and doing what I need to do to serve this community. It would be an honor and a privilege to represent you as your council person for District 1. Mahalo.
Thank you, Heather. Well, that concludes our forum. I want to take this opportunity to really just heartfelt mahalo to all of the candidates for sharing your hearts and minds with us tonight. I feel so hopeful after this. I think no matter what happens, we're in pretty good hands at our local level, thank goodness. And like many of us, I think we're all feeling very, very blessed to be here on Hawaii Island. And to all the viewers and voters out there, I want to say this. You know, the questions we ask will shape the conversations. That is how we raise the bar. So please reach out to these candidates, look them up, Google them, go to their websites. They want to talk to you. You can see they're just sharing their hearts and their passions and their ideas with us. And I just feel like we're in a really different place. And I don't think it's just COVID-19. I think it's just a whole new kind of people coming to the forefront to lead. So mahalo to everyone, and good night and God bless. Take care.